blues chord progressions jazz players need to know. Hi, in this video we will look at the 10 most commonly seen chord variations on the 12-bar blues played in jazz. We are going to take the classic 3-chord blues progression, such as the one that we are listening to, as the basic template and just keep adding and substituting chords. Yeah! Okay, so that was the basic simple 3-chord blues, just chords 1, 4 and 5. Sometimes I think as jazz musicians we can get a bit snobby about chords and miss out just how tasty the basic blues is. Anyway, enough ranting. Let's start adding some goodies. Variation 1. Add chord 4 in bar 2. So instead of 4 bars of the first chord, we break this up, adding more movement. Here is a tremendous example of this slightly changed blues progression. John Coltrane on Bessie's Blues, 1964. Wow, hard to stop that there. So in this first variation there are no new chords, just more chord movement. Simple and effective. Okay, variation 2. In bars 9 and 10, replace the 5-4 chords with a 2-5 to the tonic key. Let's hear this in action. Coltrane again, Locomotion from Blue Train. Man, that sounds good, doesn't it? Substituting the 2-5 sound for the 5-7-4-7 jazzes up the blues already, as the 2-5 progression is so much a part of the common harmonic jazz sound, so it's perhaps more flexible and open than the 5-4, and that is why jazz musicians tend to use it. Variation 3. In the basic blues, there are 2 chords of chord 4 at bars 5 and 6, which are then followed by the root tonic chord 1. In this variation, the sharp 4 diminished 7 chord is added to bar 6. Listen and see how this edgy chord chromatically links the 4 chord back to the 1 chord. The jazz player can jump on these notes, bringing out the sound of the harmony. Let's hear this diminished chord on Blue Monk by Thelonious Monk. The feeling of this chord is kind of up, bright, I would say. Master. I'm going to play this now crudely and squarely on the piano so you can hear this diminished chord again. This is a common harmonic device jazz players use to go back to the 1 chord from the 4 chord. Okay, variation 4, bar 6 again. The other chord movement that is greatly used to link the 4 chord back to the tonic chord is the 4 minor. Let's listen to that. 4, 4 minor to 1. Emotionally, this is like a bit more melancholy than the previous diminished chord. Anyway, this 4 minor chord is very important as it is used such a lot. Here's a tremendous example of this chord movement. Louis Armstrong playing Gut Bucket Blues. Variation 5, adding the 6-7 chord to bar 8. This is the dominant of the 2 chord. Can you see it on the cycle? And it adds color, brightness and movement to the progression. The major third of this chord stands out as it has not been heard before. Now let's listen to a killing example of this. Art Blakey, Just Knock on My Door, with Sonny Stitt and McCoy Tyner. Okay, as you may have heard, the guys have spiced this 6/7 chord up a bit by adding its relative 2 minor, in this case G minor 7. I will play from bar 5 now, so we can hear the G minor 7 and the C7. Nice little harmonic touch there, no? Shame about the singing. I added a flat 9 on the C7 for more colour and interest. Variation 6. We are going to take out the magnifying glass now and have a close look at bars 7 and 8. As we see here, the basic blues has 2 bars of the root tonic chord. However, there are quite a few tasty chords heard in the jazz vernacular in these 2 bars that we should be acquainted with, especially if our aim is to be able to improvise coherently. Let's check them out. Here are 5 such variations over these 2 bars in the key of C, for simplicity. A. B. A pleasing ascending motion is produced. C. D. E. 1 bar, 3 minor 7, 1 bar, 6, 7. This simplifies things at high speeds, removing so many chords. Okay, I think it's time for a quick recap before we go on, looking at some of the variations we have seen and adding perhaps further harmonic twists. Okay, let's look at these chords quickly. C. C7 with the E in the bass. F. F sharp diminished like we saw before. C with the G in the bass. G7 with that lovely sharp 5. G minor 7. C7. G flat 7, the tritone substitution of C. F7, F minor, B flat 7 is the flat 7 7, C, D minor 7, E minor 7, E flat minor 7, D minor 7, G7, G7 with the spicy sharp 5, C. Okay, variation 7. In this variation, we are going to look at the last 2 bars, 11 and 12. There are literally limitless variations to end the 12-bar blues. Let's look at the most typical ones. Firstly, the turnaround. The most typical turnaround is 1, 6, 2, 5. We can make these dominant, or we used tritone substitutions that will give us a pleasing chromatic bass line and subsequent harmony. Then there are two blues cliché chord progressions that are heard a lot to finish the blues. One, the descending one, and two, the ascending one. Variation 8. We can call this the major blues, as in the first 4 bars, the sound is quite diatonic and major. The bluesy 4 chord in bar 2 is replaced by a diatonic 2/5. A great example of this is Charlie Parker's Au Préval. Well, apart from anything else, Charlie Parker is swinging like hell there, no? Variation 9, the descending blues. In this diagram, we can see the first 4 bars of the basic blues in C. And here is the descending blues. Working back from bar 4, we see a series of chords a dominant fifth away. D, then A, then E, then B. You can see this cycle 5 movement in this diagram of the cycle of fifths. Not all of these chord types are dominant, however. Each dominant one is preceded by a minor 7th chord. These are now 2/5 pairs and are highlighted with a little bracket. This is how the first 4 bars sound. And here with some tritone substitutions. Let's listen to a classic example of this blues progression, Blues for Alice by Charlie Parker in F major. Let's look at the entire progression in C and check out something else that this descending blues contains that is super cool. In bars 6, 7, and 8, there is a series of minor 7th chords descending each bar a semitone lower. This makes for very interesting lines for the improviser. Variation 10. Let's call this the cycle 5 blues. These chord changes belong to the tune Some Other Blues by John Coltrane. Really elegant tune and changes full of cycle 5 movement. Look at bar 4. The B7 is the tritone substitution for F7. It's a lovely unexpected colour. Then cycle 5 movement occurs from the B flat to the E flat to the A flat to the D flat. Then we hear the 5/7, the 4/7 that comes from the basic blues and gives this tune like a rootsy flavour in that moment. Variation 11, the suspended blues. Let's look at another great Coltrane tune to illustrate this. It's called Mr. Day. There is a fresh sound to this blues that I think part of which can be attributed to the special swing of this group, Elvin Jones, Steve Davis and McCoy Tyner, as well as the harmony. As we see the basic chord sound suspended, this adds a kind of modal, floating sound. Notice the turnaround chords are not 5-7 to 4-7, but 4-7 to flat 3-7, which is also unexpected. The flat 3 chord can be thought of as a moment of modal interchange. Variation 12, the chromatic blues. Let's listen to a classic Coltrane tune, Harmonique, that illustrates this sound to perfection. Well, as you can see, it's kind of simple, containing the 3 chords of the basic blues, but with semitone chord shifts that give it a Phrygian sound that completely change the mood and emotional feeling into something exotic for the listener. Okay, final words. I would like to make it clear that the variations I've shown in this video are not the only ones there are. I know of others, and I know for sure there are countless more out there. Also, there's no mention of the minor blues in this video. I think you would agree that it probably merits its own. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the presentation and will like, subscribe and share. Cheers!